Hi, you guys. Welcome to another little podcast from the project. Just going to talk a bit, so I don't know, like a bit about football and stuff today. We've got three older heads on board, me being one of them. We've got Pete Hannon, who you all know. Are you, Pete? All right.
All right, mate.
You always look so leisurely, mate. You do. Honestly,
Yeah,
you always look like you're really relaxed. And I look at you and I think, I wish I lived where Pete lives.
you want to see me at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, mate?
Like all of us. Someone else we got with us tonight, Pete, is an old mate of mine, right? I don't think I've actually seen Gary in person for like 30 years, probably. I don't know. But me and him used to get the blues all the time together. Used to stand on the cup, talk shite, drink in the barrel organ, drink anywhere, really. All that sort of stuff. Gaz, how you doing, mate?
I'm absolutely sound, mate. How are you?
Yeah,
Nice to see you. Nice to see you almost in the flesh, but
well, near as you can get. Look what I've got on.
Well, good for you, mate. Where can I get one of them from?
Pete will get you one.
Yeah, I've got mine on, and I wear mine. What's classed as back to front because he's got the name on.
Yeah. I'm too vain to do that because it makes the neck too high. But I got Julie gave Carl Court this to bring back for me, and I've got as well my wristband.
Oh yes, I got them. Mate.
I've got some Justice for the 21 underpants on as well. Have you got them, Pete?
I tell you what, I have got, mate. What Dave sorted me out with
yesterday.
Nice. Look at that.
That's smart, that is, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. Talking of Warwickshire, nice. they're on my list.
You emailed them the other day, didn't you?
That's right. Yeah, we're going after them.
We're going to try and stay off politics today, but I'm going to just mention one thing that I meant to mention to you before we come on air, right? You know, when we said, it'll be great on Saturday if we don't hear anything from the Blues, but they run out and they got a black armband on, and there's a minute silence. How fantastic we would feel, right? Do you know what Bex has done, don't you? She's written to the Villa and she's asked them to wear black armbands at Spurs, and they've come back and said they might have to speak to Spurs and see if it's possible. How good would that be if they run out with black armbands on?
Yeah, I think there'll be more than a minute silence if we don't play any good.
God help them.
Oh, no.
If you all go, I don't know, like we're playing Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, but you know, don't you, what that means, don't you?
I know what it means. Barry Bannon.
Yeah, little Barry Bannon's going to be there controlling the midfield. We're going to be trying our high pressing game. That little fucker's going to be knocking balls over the top. Isn't it?
But I mean, who's the pressure on for this game? It's on us, isn't it?
Yeah, bloody hell. The pressure's massive. You know, it is. Because, I mean, Rooney's really got to win this, hasn't he? Really?
The pressure's on Wayne Rooney. I don't think it's on the players anymore. I just think they're having to adjust to a system. The pressure's all on him, I think. And the pressure is all on Gary Cook as well. That's the way I see it anyway. I mean, he's got to succeed. Wayne Rooney, as he has to succeed. For his own good, if anything else. 3 high-profile clubs now, and he's not done that well, has he?
I don't think he did that badly at Derby, to be honest.
No, he didn't do that bad at Derby.
They had a 21-point deduction, and the fans loved him.
Yeah.
He was paying the players' wages. I mean, fair play to him.
Yeah.
You know,
he's got everything at his disposal here, though. It's slightly different. He hasn't got his hands tied behind his back. He's got everything. Within reason.
Yeah. He hasn't got a bad squad. And I don't know what you think about this, Pete, but I think we had the conversation before about it. It looks to me, honestly, like what the players that we bought in the summer were bought for this system.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
There's not one of them that can't play that system. They're all perfect for it. They're young, they're fit, they can run. None of them are big. You know what I mean? And it looks too coincidental, doesn't it?
Is it a coincidence, though?
Well, that's exactly the point, Gaz.
But I mean, we've got enough miles on the clock between us, haven't we? this is your archetypal Blues fuck up game coming up, isn't it? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
We're
I
going to
mean,
lose
for
2-0 or
me,
something. Like.
yeah, I'm still like I'm still, although I was really shocked at Eustace going at the time. I thought he would have been given. I thought until January, to be
I
honest.
think everyone thought that.
But if it don't happen, the pressure is really on. You know, the pressure.
How many games do you think he's got left, Pete?
Oh, you know, how long's a piece of string? I mean, I honestly think that if it goes wrong on Saturday, things might start to get a bit nasty again. You know what I mean?
Well, it will with the fans, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's in, well, like it's just saying, like the three older statesmen here, if you like. There's a lot of young Blues fans, thankfully, that are coming through that's probably haven't seen as many sorrows as we have. And
true, yeah,
an analogy that somebody used last week on the podcast that I saw, that was like, you know, this microwave.
Oh, don't you start that. Pete loves that.
It's good though. Well, you know, it's sort of, you know, it's instant gratification, which a lot of, it's not just the Blues. I mean, it's everywhere now. They expect it. I mean, I don't know if you ever listen to 606 on a Saturday, apart from the two clowns that host it. A lot of people on there, youngsters, and you know, and they're moaning about Arsenal and like, you know, they're top of the league and moaning about, and you think, my God, you don't know what you really don't, you know. But I think if the Blues don't turn it round on Saturday, we don't get at least 3 points. Well, we can't get any more. If we don't get 3 points, there's going to be a lot of booing. I think it will turn. You know.
Yeah, I think with the fans, you know, that they're always very volatile. The Blues fans, especially now, probably more than ever. But I think, and it doesn't matter how much common sense you attach to it. So you could say, you know, okay, well, if they lose, then obviously there's going to be a massive backlash. We get it on the group, don't we, afterwards? I mean, we have to try and control that, and it's absolute nightmare when we lose. And then you think, well, the club can't react and just sack him. But then, having said that, the pressure becomes so much that they sort of just have to do something, don't they? And I wonder if it would be Rooney that goes, or Rooney and Cook.
Yeah, I think it'd have to be the pair. I don't think, you know, it's obviously Cook that's got him in there. It's obviously something he's been trying to do for a long time, you know.
They're joined at the hip, them pair, anyway.
Yeah, they seem to be, don't they? Somehow, I don't know. But if Rooney did have to go, I can't see Cook really
surviving.
No, I can't see it.
Because he put
he's
put so much on Rooney, and you know.
He has, and don't forget, I mean, he would have been consulting with the American owners, and American businessmen are ruthless. You know, at the top, they are ruthless. They're well known for patting people on the back for good work and you're a hell of a guy and a hell of a guy, and they'll open the door and you're still a hell of a guy, and they'll push you down the lift shaft. That's the way they are.
Well, we've seen that with John Eustace, didn't we?
Yeah. You know, so
apparently
nobody's safe there if you don't go on.
It wasn't very good the way they got rid of him, from what I've heard.
No.
You know.
So there's one thing I'd like to talk about, though, actually, which is, you know, the ground, thankfully, at long last, has been sorted out. Right now, where are we going to find these fans to put the bums on the seats?
Good question, because it's expensive, isn't it?
Right. We've always been, you know, and they brought into this thing. Yeah, as soon as a success comes around, they'll all come flooding in and whatever. But I think they've got to sort out what they're doing pricing wise. Now, I always feel in a way for season ticket holders, you know, they put the money up front and whatever, and then all of a sudden we're asking, saying, oh, well, yeah, really, to get a few more people in, we got to do discounts here and whatever. But it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? You know, having people in that ground generates revenue. You've got to think, how are you going to get them in? You ain't going to get them in charging £32.50 a ticket. Someone's going to think twice about it, ain't they?
Yeah.
And it's, especially like you're after the younger ones as well coming in.
It's like it's a difficult one, really, because it's right what you say, Pete. Because if they decide to do kids for £1 or something, you know, something like that, or a fiver in for one match, then season ticket holders are pissed off, aren't they? You know.
Mm.
I mean, they probably shouldn't be, because it's trying to help the club, but you can understand them because they paid the money up front and they haven't got that discount, you know. So it's like, it's a really tough one. And especially with, I don't know what the ground capacity is, 30,000 now, or it will be.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, it's one thing with me. I'm not a season ticket holder. I go game by game. So go with me lad. I can only really go on Saturdays. Go to the few on midweek ones, but you know what I mean. It ain't worth me getting a season ticket because of the games that I might have to miss.
Mm.
But it's like people who buy a season ticket buy it because they can afford to get one. Right now, I would love to go in the corporate. It's brilliant, but I can't afford to. You know what I mean? I don't mind people going in corporate. Who's got it, fair play to them. But if you can afford to go in corporate, you shouldn't be bothered about what somebody else is paying to me.
Well, I know what you mean, and I agree. But it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone with a season ticket can afford it, because they have the scheme now, don't they, where, you know, it's interest free and you can pay over 8 months.
Yeah.
You know, so you can basically buy a season ticket for £30 a month or something, you know.
I mean, they'll price it at what people are prepared to pay, won't they? That's the
and when you look at it as well, you know, because we've always got Villa in the wing mirrors, haven't we? You know, I mean, apparently there's like 20,000 people on a waiting list at Villa. God knows, I don't know. Like, I don't get it myself, but apparently there is. You know, so how have they done that?
But that's how they can whack the prices up, ain't they? And people feel pressured into doing it now. Well, if I don't pay it, some other clown's going to come and take my seat off me. With us, it's a different situation. We're trying to attract people in. You got to think, how are you going to attract them in? The first thing you can say is, oh, well, yeah, produce a winning team, but let's get the microwave out again. That ain't going to happen.
You mentioned that bleeding microwave once more.
That ain't going to, no, but you know what I mean? It ain't going to happen overnight, is it? You know what I mean? Them seats are there and they'll be empty until we can think of a way of trying to get people to come and sit on them.
Well, the best way to get bums on seats is to start winning games. We have 1 for 6 now. Yeah. You know, that's the best way. And the Blues hardcore are out there. They're still there. They're still there. Don't forget, we've just gone through at least 10 years of absolute abject
garbage.
You know.
And when you look
you can't blame people for dropping away. I did the same. I dropped. I just thought, I am not having any more of this. I ain't having no more. You know, we've seen the pinnacle of Blues. Apart from the FA Cup, we've done we've done it. Like we've been to Wembley.
If you don't mind me asking, if you don't mind me asking, who was the first manager when you started going?
Stan Cullis.
Stan Cullis, yeah, and I've got his autograph.
That'll be worth something now.
I actually met him and got his autograph. Yeah.
So we're all of the same ilk. We're all the Cullis boys then.
Cullis boys.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really comment on Stan Cullis because I was too young really to sort of understand it, you know. But I remember some writing, and it still might be there now. I can't remember where it was. It's under one of the bridges, Bordsley or something.
Cullis and Mallet.
Cullis and Mallet out, yeah.
yeah. Remember that, yeah. Because of course, what happened was, and it never, when Collis resigned, Malik come in a bit until Freddie Goodwin came through the door.
Yeah, I mean, Stan Cullis, actually, when you look back at that team, and I mean, when I say I look back at it, I mean, I can remember it, I could name that team, but I wouldn't say I really understood football that well at that time, you know. But he had some decent players at his disposal, didn't he?
Well, yeah. Did you do? Was it you who did that poll about the best Blues managers and try and put them in an order?
You've been on Tilt the Lines, didn't you?
I've been caught red handed there, haven't I?
It wasn't us. It wasn't us.
Yeah, but you know, I was trying to think of it now.
What's it? What it didn't name McLeish.
A lot of people, you know, will go straight and say Freddie Goodwin. You know, he's the one. But the more hindsight's a wonderful thing, in it. Like now, he lost his way after 3 years, really. How much of that was due to backing it, and we spent all our money? Because some of the players that we had under the Stan Cullis era, they weren't coming to Blues, you know, oh yeah, I'd love to play for this second division side. You're talking about sort of like internationals coming, like Fred Pickering, Jim Greenough, learning it. But I mean, he was top draw, wasn't he? Bert Murray, Barry Bridges, and whatever. Yeah. We must have paid out some dough to attract them in.
Yeah, Jeff Vowden.
And then, oh yes, the Channel Islands best player, and then until Matt Letizia come up, he was Jersey. Was he Jersey or
Guernsey? Yeah, he's from Guernsey, was it?
Guernsey was it? Yeah. But I mean, like, so when Freddie Goodwin come in, now things started to fall into place. So some of his signings, that the first season he was there, were absolutely top draw. You know what I mean? Like he got in Roger Hine, just what we needed. Sort of, we needed a proper centre half. Got in Alan Campbell, brilliant. Got in
John Connolly, the winger too.
That was a bit later on. That was John Connolly.
He was the same, wasn't he? At the same time.
No. So you're getting in Gordon Taylor.
Of course he wasn't Gordon Taylor.
Yeah, you got Alan Campbell. You got brought Bob Hatton in, the master stroke sort of thing. They were all brilliant signings who did, you know, served us well for sort of like 5-6 years. We got our money's worth out of them, didn't we? Yeah. But then we've gone up to the first division. This is, you know, it's Blues all over, and it.
Yeah.
And who do we sign to try and, you know, cement ourselves? We went for, what was it, Tony Once and Bobby Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, seriously, you know, I mean...
The recruitment started to go tits up, really, didn't it?
Well, Tony Once and Bob Hope were well past the sell-by date by then, you know. That's not to say you can't get a tune out of an old fiddle, because look at Stephen Carr, you know, but...
Yeah.
No, you know.
But like you say, how much of that was down to money or muddled thinking? I don't know. Because then, you know, I mean, those first 2 years, and obviously everything, but when Freddie had first took over, we've got Superboy turns up, haven't we? And everything in the garden was rosy and brilliant. You got Bob Latchford coming through. It was magical, wasn't it? That
it was brilliant.
71-72 promotion season. The bit of a bumpy ride in the first season, back in the first division, but we had a magnificent end of the season, finished 10th. This is it now. We're on the way. We're the 4th best supported team in the country. What a time to be a Blues fan, like, you know. I've possibly felt like a glory hunter, you know. I've been following him 68. 2 FA Cup semi-finals, 4th best supported team in the country. This is brilliant, isn't it? And then things started to go wrong. I mean, that lack of proper signings from that first season. We then go into the second one, and who did we end up with? Gary Sprake. And you think when you've got sort of like three decent goalkeepers there, you got Paul Cooper, you got Dave Latchford and Mike Kelly on the books, and he goes and signs Gary Sprake, and what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
But I think there was a lot at that time as well. I think there was a lot of like dodginess going on at the Blues, and without saying too much about it, I mean, Gary Sprake, it was a nice little learner for him, wasn't it, at the end of his career,
I mean, I don't know if you'd heard the rumour, like, that we'd gone up to Leeds to try and get Terry Yorath.
And came back with Gary Sprake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which sort of like you're thinking, that something was starting to go wrong, weren't it?
Yeah.
Then obviously Bob Latchford left. I still don't know whether he pushed to go. I know there'd been bits in the papers saying like, he was getting disillusioned.
Oh yeah, he did, and I know Trevor Francis was trying to get away for a couple of seasons,
Yeah.
And people say, well, he was dead loyal, Trev, but it's only because I wouldn't let him go. I'm not saying he wasn't loyal, but you can't blame a player like that wanting to play in European football, can you? I mean, they've all got ambitions, and it's like I mean, at least Francis, he was a Blues player. I mean, people, the argument comes up, that doesn't it? What's the best product of Blues? Is it Francis or Bellingham? Well, Bellingham, because Francis wasn't a Blues product. Trevor Francis came through the Plymouth academy system, and then we signed him when he was 15. Whereas Jude was playing for us when he was 8. So actually, Bellingham's been with us longer than Francis was. But he's always been very loyal to Blues, Trevor Francis has, and I think he's always seen himself as a Blues player, and he was a very, very talented player. But it's all this thing about kissing the badge, and it means absolutely nothing, I mean, it means absolutely nothing now when you see him do that, because I mean, the money's so stupid. It wasn't then, but it was just starting to get stupid, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw Trevor Francis kissing his badge, though.
I don't think he had a badge when he first played.
Well, no, of course he didn't. But
you know what I mean, though. Blues,
Yeah. I mean that magical era there that like we're talking about, Latchford, Atton, Francis, Taylor. That would frighten the life out of any team today. That would, on par.
Yeah, but having said that,
bloody great front line, bloody good.
But if you just as well, because we've been brought up on this, just before that, Vincent, Greenough, Bridget, Pickering, Summerhill. I mean, Summerhill is overlooked completely by people. That man was scoring 21 goals, 22 goals, top goal scorer.
Yeah.
Greenough and Bridges were there.
Yeah.
And you sort of forget Phil Summerhill. Yeah. But we've been brought up on those sort of forward lines, haven't we?
Yeah.
But then, of course,
great player Phil Summerhill was a great player.
The plus side of Bob Latchford going is bringing in Howard Kendall, which
it's great, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I did. It's a player that we could find an equivalent today of him playing in our midfield. We'd be a lot better off, because he was an outstanding player.
And the cherry on the cake, because we've got Archie Styles as well.
Yeah. And Archie Gemmell.
Oh, Archie Gemmell. Colin Todd.
Yeah.
Rolls Royce, wasn't he, Colin Todd?
Yeah, absolutely, he was. Yeah.
Of course, because rolling it back a bit, then obviously you've got Kenny Burns, who, you talk about a player there. He could play anywhere, couldn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he could, because everyone was shit scared of him. I think that's a good player.
We've had a few crazy players, haven't we? Kenny Burns being one. I mean, another one that was just because I want to keep just knocking it back a little bit as well. I mean, Trevor Hockey's someone that was a bit of, and we probably remember him, don't you, Pete?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
A real legend,
Yeah.
I didn't get much of his single, though. Did you ever hear that one, that Happy 'Cause I'm Blue?
Yeah. It was like they used to call him the Blues Beetle, didn't they?
That's it, yeah.
It was a real, he got a bit of long hair. That was really it, wasn't it?
That's it. So, stick to kicking people, Trev. Yeah.
And he paid, brilliant. The amount of teams he played for, my God, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't he, you know,
I
9 or
can
10
remember
teams.
him years later, him playing for Sheffield United, and he's got this massive beard, like, you know, like big. Crikey, what's
I
he
thought he
still
was going to
doing?
do a what's it impersonation then? You know, I forget his name now. That one who likes plants.
David
Oh
Bellamy.
yeah, Bellum,
David
Bellamy.
Bellamy.
That's
Yeah.
it, yeah. But
He was,
Boss Corner.
he was a good player, Rocky, and I think, you know, we all loved him and that team wasn't a bad team, you know, with the likes of, you know, like Bridges and Burt Murray and all those players. And then as it went on, but we never, I don't know, like, it's always what Blues do. It's like when Blues were in the Premier League. You get there, you have a couple of seasons. It's you know, we know we win the League Cup and we get fucking relegated, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it was like, you know, it comes up in every conversation, doesn't it? The F word, right? That semi-final. I mean, it took us years to even think about recovering from that. It absolutely
knocked the balls out of the club.
Knocked the stuffing out of it. And obviously, I think that was the beginning of the end for Goodwin, and especially like there's all that thing. Yeah, he's picked the wrong team for the you know, he's dropped Calderwood and Bryant and brought in Pendry and Page, and we just never showed up at, you know, well, we don't want to go into it, it's too upsetting, but the writing was on the wall for Freddie Goodwin then, wasn't it? You know what I mean?
But then when you look at it, though, he was there for 3 years. I mean, that would be like, you'd get a bloody gold watch for that now, wouldn't you?
But I mean, so who did we go out and get? Oh, who've we got? Willie Bell.
Willie Bell, yeah.
I forgot about Willie Bell,
yeah.
Now,
you can't say a lot about Willie Bell, can you, really?
He was lucky that...
Did he come from Leeds?
He felt, if you're come to take over a team that's got been Trevor Francis and Kenny Burns up front,
yeah,
and then he brought in John Connolly and Gary Jones and whatever, and we did have a couple of good seasons with there, but I think that was in spite of him. It was just the fact that we had, you know, Burns and Trevor absolutely on fire. But then of course, do you know he never actually got sacked?
What did he do? Just like
never got sacked. They let his contract run down. It's Snidey Blues way of doing it. Yeah,
typical Blues.
So then, who's around but Sir Alf Ramsey?
Yeah.
Who we brought in because by this time we got Keith Coombs was in charge. Hadn't got a Scooby Doo really what he was doing.
And Ramsey was, you know, another one really that had probably gone past his best, hadn't he, at Ipswich, and obviously he'd won the World Cup.
Oh well, you know, he didn't want the job as such. It was almost like, well, he's saying he didn't want it. He could have turned around and says, "No, I don't want it." He said, "You're just temporary until you find another manager." But then I had two of my best away days at Blues with Sir Alf in charge. That was, and we'd done it in consecutive weeks. We beat Man United 2-1 up at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Then a couple of weeks later, we went to Anfield and beat Liverpool 3-2. Love you, Sir Alf. You know, I love him for that. Yeah. But
you got a good memory, Pete. To be honest, you've been reading up before you come on.
Yeah.
I think Gary. I mean, I know what Gary's done. Do you know what Gary's done? Don't you, Pete? He's
read them books behind him.
Yeah, he was on late because he's been putting that bookshelf up and putting all the books on it. He said, "I want to look intelligent." You know, he don't wear glasses, don't you? He's just got some on top of his head, so he looks intelligent.
I do actually wear glasses.
I
can tell you now, they're not my books.
No.
We just had this library built because we've been having building work done for us some time, and we finally got the library back because my missus is an absolute bookworm. You know, my comics are on the bottom shelf down here.
The Beano.
Yeah. My comics are in the loft, but let's not go there.
Yeah, so So how long was Alf Ramsey there?
Well, he basically he took over in the like Willie Bell's contract run out in the September time. He come over, and then everything was all going tits up with and the Blue Revolution was all started and all
the Blue Revolution, yeah.
all thing and whatever. And then we got Jim Smith in towards the end of the season. I think Sir Alf's last game for us, we got absolutely battered 4-0 at Coventry. There's a YouTube. We were, even by Blues standards, it was absolutely, this whole thing about the team not playing for the manager.
Yeah.
They threw in the towel, and it was pretty unpleasant. So Jim Smith, a lot of people going, who's Jim Smith?
Yeah.
He's come in at a bad time, sort of thing. But Blues being Blues, we stuck with him as fans, sort of thing. There's almost like a backlash against the Blue Revolution of cut people in two, and it is either you want change or you want to get behind your manager and stick with your club. And they had this mass walkout plan, didn't they?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I can't sort of vaguely remember it.
Arsenal, yeah, and it was everyone's all waiting for the time to go 70 minutes or whatever, but nobody did.
It's like typical Blues, isn't it? It's like
Blues like moan,
couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
But then the Blue Revolution sort of like died a death, really, didn't it? But then we stuck with Jim Smith. He had all the paraphernalia about Trevor wanting to leave and whatever.
I like Jim though,
and I did.
Yeah,
I thought he was all right.
You had to deal with Trevor leaving, getting that £1 million. We got relegated, but then he didn't half invest that $1 million. Well,
he did.
That's when he brought in Frank Worthington, Archie Gemmell, Colin Todd.
There was some lovely players in that side, weren't there?
Yeah.
I love that team.
I mean, Worthington. I mean, I know he's played everywhere. I'm just glad I got to see him play week in, week out.
Me too.
I mean, we'd watch their Gaz, and you could see him. It was worth paying the money in to watch him.
He was a class act. He was just absolute class act.
He was our do Gary, wasn't he? He was. I always refer to him as an old man's do Gary, Frankie.
Yeah.
And he's the only person I've ever made sure I was in the ground to watch his warm up. I mean,
I just said that, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go. It was still in the days. It's not like they flipping come out at 2:00 and do all these sprints and whatever. They'd still be coming out sort of like 10 to 3. Yeah. But then you just always was mesmerised on him and doing his ball juggling and messing about. The bloke was just pure class, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
I mean, you see him doing all that, and then you go to the rum runner at night, and there'd be about 15 birds sitting with him on a table.
Yeah.
Oh, what a bloke.
Yeah. He
was a great player,
Yeah. I met him.
About him, though. I mean, loads of people's got great stories, but Blues had a pre-season tour to Sweden. And
that is fair enough. Enough said.
Yeah. Leave it there.
Jim Smith had actually sent him out there to get his fitness because we got promotion.
Was Jim mad?
The Bald Eagle
was brilliant. Put it that way. He was a very entertaining bloke. Jim Smith was, yeah. But he'd sent Worthington out there, so there was a minibus load of us flipping drove up to Sweden. I was asleep for 2.5 countries. I got that pissed on the boat we got over to flipping.
I've never heard that. I've never heard that before. I was kissed for 2.5 countries.
It's bloody
2.5 days, yeah.
Yeah, well, I woke up in Denmark. Yeah,
You only went out for a pint.
I know. It's Denmark. I don't know if any of you two been to Copenhagen.
No.
I've been to Denmark twice, but for fishing, like, you know, I love Denmark. It's one of my favourite places in the world.
Absolutely. We hit Copenhagen about 3:00 on a Monday, and it was like hitting anywhere else at 8:00 on a Saturday. The whole place was just heaving, and everyone was nuts. It just felt so at home. It was brilliant. I loved it. Then got the boat over to Sweden, found out where the Blues team was and whatever. And first things, you know, says to Frank Worthington, one of our lads who was with him, went up and, you know, says, how many have you scored since you've been over here? And he says, well, plenty of women. And I think that's how he used to gain his fitness. It wasn't on the pitch. It was his bedroom athletics.
Fair play to him, you know. And of course, you know, he liked to do his little bit of Elvis as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, he just everything about it. Well, put it this way, he does a better Elvis than that one who's on the flipping Davo's diary, Jimmy. Jesus Christ.
Oh dear, yeah.
He needs to learn a few more moves, does Jimmy?
Yeah. He does make you cringe.
But he's always pissed when he does it, so we'll let him off.
Oh, he's a darling, no, isn't he?
Yeah, they're quite funny, you
know. Talking about Elvis and rock and roll, I can't remember who we played, but Worthington scored the only goal of the game, 1-0 against, I can't remember it. That night I stayed in town because I got tickets to see the Stray Cats at the Birmingham Odeon.
Oh, Stray Cats strut.
Yeah. Come out the gig, like in the lift going up to the multi-story. The doors open. Who's in the lift there? Frank Worthington and Dave Hill out of Slade. And it's like, you know, which floor are you going to? So, great goal today, Frank. He went, yeah, great. I said, where are you off to now? He says, we're going to have a couple. Like Dave Hill was about
like, it's both ends of the evolutionary scale, that is Dave Hill and Frank Worthington, you know what I mean?
The doors open and we partied. Like, I was just like, that was surreal.
Yeah, for 1 minute, for three, like Pete woke up like and missed 3 countries. You did 3 floors with Dave Hill and Frank Worthington.
Brilliant, yeah.
Well, he was certainly an entertainer. And I mean, the goal that stands out for me with Frank Worthington, I don't know if you might have even been with me, Gary, I don't know, but it was a Tuesday night game. I think we were playing Forest. Yeah, just inside their half. Beat Shilton hands up, you know. Unbelievable goal.
Yeah. One of my all-time favourites, Frankie, was brilliant.
And of course, he wore that kit, didn't he? That Adidas kit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my favourite kit.
2 little bits of piping down the sides when it was a great kit with like the
Adidas stripes, you know. It's just lovely kit, you know.
He wore it better than anybody else. I got.
Calm down, Pete. Calm down.
I'm going on here, like, move over, Dave Hill. I want to get in the lift with Frank.
Kick the little fucker out.
It's
a weird. I mean, I'm not being funny though. I think Frank was on a winner there when they're going out pulling birds with Dave Hill. I mean, like, you know, like he's got, who's your mate? He's all right. He's all right. Like.
Dave Hill would have sloppy seconds or something.
Hey.
Come on.
Anyway, getting back to football, right?
Slight diversion.
So we got Jim Smith. You know, loved him, playing some decent football and whatever. Then we had another somewhere about pre-season tours. I actually stayed awake to get to Holland. We had a pre-season tour of Holland. And we'd gone over there because we was interested in signing this Dutch bloke called Tony van Mierlo.
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah,
Another cracking player.
he was playing for this team called, was it Wilhelm 2 or whatever?
Willem too. Yeah, Willem too.
Yeah. So we gone over and I've I won't go into too much. Right, but
No.
he's playing, Van Merlo's playing, but there's this bloke on the other side who's flipping 10 times better than him. And he's the Bud Brocken.
Bud Brocken, yeah.
So, we must have had a few bob from getting promoted because we ended up flipping buying the pair of them.
Mm.
But they never really made it, really, did they?
No.
No, but
Decent players, but not,
no.
you know.
They weren't going to take it to the next level, was they?
No.
Put it that way.
No,
He's
no,
been polite.
no.
But then, of course, Saunders walked out at the Villa, didn't he? So
I remember that happening, and to be honest, I don't know how you felt at the time as a Blues fan. I was absolutely delighted to get Saunders.
Really?
Yeah, I was, honestly. I was like, fucking great. Because, what a good manager he was, I don't know. What did you think, guys?
I just thought, what am I going to do now? What can I don't know. Why is he coming here?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I'm obviously,
but my thing was sort of like, because everyone used to call him Smiling Ronnie, didn't they? Like, I mean, you couldn't knock his record, could you? His record was as a manager was absolutely superb, and unfortunately, the pinnacle of it was down the road.
Yeah.
From us. But
he did well with some of the players he brought in. I mean, you sort of wondered at some of his signings, but then again, he did quite well. Like Byron Stevenson, for instance. When he arrived, he was crap, but he turned him into a good player, didn't he? And then of course we probably wouldn't have had Hoppy, Noel Blake, Howard Gale.
Billy Wright.
They were all sort of Ron's boys, weren't they, really, and they were all good players, weren't they?
Yeah, my big upset was the fact that I knew that as soon as Saunders come in the door, the first person who'd be out that door would be my Frankie was going to go.
Yeah, he got no chance. He got no chance with Saunders, and that's what happened, didn't it? He went.
Yeah.
But I think he would have gone anyway. I mean, Frank's a bit of a journeyman, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a bit of a wanderer. Yeah. He sorted out everyone in Birmingham. About time to go and sort out sort another town out. Yeah.
But there was someone else in that little. Well, there was another two in that sort of little gang of players there, weren't there? There was Hoppy. There was Noel Blake, Howard Gale.
Yeah.
Someone we seen on our page yesterday.
Tony Coton and
did you see him, Gaz?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Fair play to him, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That team that he was putting together there, like it was as ever with Blue. I mean,
Mickey Harford was the other one.
Yeah, we were sort of like 4 players short of being,
I don't know though. Who else was in that side? Mark Dennis.
Yeah. It was brilliant. When you'd got sort of like Kevin Broadhurst, who
Davy Langham.
Langham was a bit
later, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, so the fullbacks was Mad Pat there. That was Mad Pat.
No, again a little bit later on with Langham around that time, like Mad Pat.
Yeah, we were a team not to be messed with, weren't we?
Bloody hell, man! Seriously, when you got Noel Blake and Mickey Harford bearing down on you, and Uppy being a bit of a nutter anyway, I mean, Uppy went to my school. His brother was a good footballer, Barry. He played for the Villa. But I mean, that team there with Hoppy and Harford and Tony Coton and that. I mean,
Yeah.
they were proud of playing for Blues, weren't they? You know,
Yeah. I mean,
that's
I
the
think
feeling you got.
we got our reputation back then as battling Blues, like, because that's
Exactly.
what we were at that time. We were, we was always known as being a team that was never going to give in, and all of a sudden it came back and it was proper, like, it was like, you ain't getting past me, or I'm coming through you. That's how we were again. Like,
Yeah.
But it was
that was a good time. We were solid.
just that thing, weren't it? Just that, when we
Finishing
needed
touch.
the investment, it weren't there. It weren't there, and then things started to go wrong with the money wise, and then by this time the scrap man was in, weren't he? Weldon,
Yeah.
and
That was a bad time. That was, wasn't it?
yeah, this was the start of things going seriously tits up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then of course we lost to Altrincham in the cup.
Remember that?
I do. I remember it.
And Kidderminster.
Yeah, that was a bit later as well.
Yeah.
I won the Kidderminster one, weren't it?
It was what?
But, so smiling Ronnie was out the door, and then Kevin Ball's favourite mate coming, didn't he? John Bond.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
best mate.
Yeah.
He hated him.
Yeah. He was on a hiding to nothing, to be honest, weren't he, John Bond, really?
I didn't really. I was never taken with John Bond. He was the last of the flash managers when he, like your Malcolm Allison types who
That's it. Yeah.
like to look gorgeous, have a cigar and his gob, but didn't know much about how the game was changing,
Yeah.
I mean, it shows how the times were. I've got to tell you this story. Blues had a pre-season tour, so we're about 1987 now. Now, it weren't the exotic places where I can sleep through 2.5 countries like Sweden or going over to Holland. No, the pre-season tour consisted of Weymouth on a Friday, Bournemouth on a Saturday, Yeovil on a Tuesday, and Bideford on a Thursday. The Southwest tour, yeah. But like Bournemouth was sort of like 4th division, whatever the equivalent of it is now, whatever. Steve Claridge actually played for Weymouth on the Friday night.
Did he?
Yeah. So that was my first sight. I wouldn't have known because I was pissed anyway, though.
Yeah.
But we were. Seaman had come along. He was getting just about to leave. He's sorting himself a move out to QPR, but he'd come on tour anyway. Julian Dix was there. He was in the process of getting a move.
I used to love Dixie.
Yeah, and me.
Who was the other fullback then? Was it Kevin Ashley?
He was Kevin Ashley, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
another one that did a thing. He's another one that did a thing for us yesterday, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he was, of course, he's a Villa fan, Kevin. But
is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say this from behind my microphone here, but Julian Dix was as thick as shit, mate.
Good player. He was a decent player, though, mate.
Weren't he just sort of thing? He left it all out there, didn't he?
Yeah.
He always had his shorts a bit too short for me, though, as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, oh God! But I mean, we had. Shows how interested John Bond is. He wasn't asked to even come on this tour, so he put Fred Davis to be in charge.
Yeah.
And it was split in two. The Blues team was really, there was the golf wankers, as Hoppy had called them. So you got sort of like Des Bremner, Nicky Platino, like the sensible heads, and then up the back you got sort of like Martin Cool, Hoppy. We just signed Vince Overson.
I forgot about Nicky Platino, you know.
Yeah, mate. So just like when you
said, where did he come from? Coventry.
Yeah. And of course that was the other one, Wayne Clark, but he was sorting himself a move out to Everton.
I love Clarkey though.
Yeah. So real class act he was, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, one of the Clarks, you know what I mean? They're all the same, aren't they? You know, he was lovely. I loved him at the Wolves, and when he come to us, I think you know he signed. We used to go down there. Then did we, guys? You know, at that time, and when
Yeah.
Clarkey first come, it was like I was so happy because I'd
Yeah.
seen him at the Wolves. I thought, what a good player he is. You know.
Yeah. He was a decent player. He had it, didn't he? Like, you know, it was like when they talk about players that have an aura, like he had it on the pitch, like, didn't he? And people, you could see people respected him. And what's he going to do next? Like, you know, he was one of them.
And if you squinted, he looked a bit like Alan. So you could think, oh, he was a good, he was a good finisher though, you know. And that side actually wasn't a bad side again, was it?
No, it was. Yeah.
So, yeah, going back to this southwest, the southwest tour.
The southwest.
So there must have, it was like the flipping Wild West, I tell you. So there's cliques in the Blues camp, shall we say? There's the ones who are leaving, you know, Seaman, Wayne Clark, Dixie. Oh, is
He's off. He's bored.
Yeah. Well, we can look at his books now.
We look at his books.
Yeah.
Parade. What's that?
Yeah, so.
No, sorry.
There must have been about.
Log on the fire.
There's about 20 Blues fans who'd gone to Weymouth on the Friday night. Made our way over to Bournemouth on Saturday, and there was shed loads of turn. You know what I mean? Bournemouth on an August.
Yeah.
New ground for a lot of people. You know, you're getting people who weren't just going for football. Let's put it that way. So we had some serious head the balls around for that one. But yeah, that was quite an entertaining evening on the beach at Bournemouth. Yeah, but then most people had either got nicked or went off home. There was a few of us left who headed over to Yeovil. Now, Yeovil at the time, there's a bloke called Jerry Gow who was in charge of him. Do you remember?
He played for Man United.
Bristol City.
Bristol City, yeah, that's it, yeah.
He'd been there when Bristol City was a good team, like, you know. But it was that sloping pitch, the famous sloping pitch. They were still there at the time. So we'd gone there. Back to about 10 of us again for this game. So we drew 0-0, pulsating game there. But we had no idea how he was going to get to Bideford. So it's funny.
Was that the next game, Bideford?
That was Bideford was going to be the next game. So my mate, Wally, bless him, mate, there's a theme going on here. Like that, Wally, God rest his soul, he passed away. He was voted a Blues supporter of the year, sort of thing. This is how loyal these lads were. So there was him. There was a bloke called Bob Teagle. He won Blues supporter of the year. He passed away there. And there was me. And Wally had gone up to Hoppy, and he says, "Any chance of we can get a lift in with the team coach?" So he says, "Yeah, leave it with me. I'll get you on." So he's got us on the team coach, but there was only places for 3. So Wally and Bob have got on, and I've got him, and there's 7 other people like, what the fuck about us? Like, you know, well, tough shit, like, you know, left him. So they ended up having to flipping sleep rough in Yeovil and get a flipping bus the next day. So there we are, loading it up on the team coach. But on about the clicks and whatever, they got a crate of beer up the back of the thing, and they're watching porno videos. So obviously there's me, Wally and Bob up the back. And up the back you got sort of like Vince Overson, Brian Roberts, he was still there.
Frosty.
Obviously Hoppy, Martin Cool and whatever. But they're a bit lightweight, some of these players, with what they can drink. So obviously you got to help them out with these crates of beer. You got Des Bremner and the Golf Society all sat down the front. Then you've got all the the,
Wells.
the lads up the back. But then Martin Cole had one too many. He'd had one over his 3 bottles, sort of thing. And he starts down there, sort of thing. You fucking Blues fans, he says, why do you idolise Hoppy? He's a cunt. Calm down, like, he says, yeah, you think he's the big I am sort of thing. He says, I'm the main geezer on this coach sort of thing. I don't give a shit about anybody. Watch this. And he picked up a bottle and threw it down the front of the coach. And he just sort of like, could have flipping split someone's head open. Like. And so obviously the flipping coach, Fred Davis and whatever, they come storming up the back sort of thing. Who the fuck's done that? And then Cole shits himself like, saying,
oh, the big man.
Yeah, he's turned around to me saying, say it's fucking you. Say it's fucking you. Yeah, so I've said, I said, oh, I'm sorry, it's just slipped out me, and I was just sort of like mucking about, sort of thing. So I've took the rap for flipping Cole here. So he said, he says, I'm gonna fuck you off the coat. You could have, you could have hurt the multi-million-pound Platina or Bremner.
Do you want to hit duck build?
Says we've been good enough to give you a lift. She says, "Oh, good mind to chuck you off the coat." And there's me. Oh, I'm sorry and whatever. I go, you bastard, flipping Martin Cole, flipping throwing me under the bus. Yeah. So in the end, he says, right. He says, as soon as we get there, he says, I don't want to see you again, sort of thing. Just fuck off. Like.
Who said that? Davis.
Dave. He had every right.
Yeah.
He had every right to be upset. Let's put it that way. But I mean, Martin Cole, what a tosser sort of thing, and especially like all the big talk there, and then when push come to shove, take the blame for me. Take the blame.
Yeah.
So we got there, and then the game at Bideford. I think we managed to win, but Hoppy nearly got in a fight, as he did, sort of thing. Someone had wound him up on their team and ended up flipping World War III, and that had to be taken off because for his own good rather than get sent off. But then after the game, Bideford had set up a quiz night sort of thing. They got sort of like the Blues team against sort of like Bideford and the Bideford supporters. So we said, well, can you make a team of us, the fans, the Blues fans who've come here? So bless them, they did. Anyway, we've done no more than win this bloody.
How did that happen? How did that happen?
I read a lot of books, mate. You see.
Oh, that's Gary you're talking about. Don't confuse yourself with Gary.
But no, so, and of course the flipping I hated that because all this shite year about like they're winners. They've got to win at Tiddlywinks and all this shit. Flipping there's us lot and flipping 3 of the team are the ones if they give a lift to, and one of them, they still think that I've thrown a flipping bottle at the assistant manager. What a palaver.
Go on. Yeah, so you sound like you had a good time, mate, on the tour of the Southwest.
Well, more than Fred Davis and Nicky Platter now and things. I don't think they found a golf course, to be honest.
Yeah. But Blues have been on some crap tours, isn't they, really? And I know where they're going next year.
Go on, then.
It's going to be the States, isn't it?
Oh, of course. Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's going to be hands-on, isn't it, that?
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky this year because they came like 10 minutes from where I live.
Oh, right, yeah.
It was brilliant because like where I live in Cabaroy, like San Pedro is literally 10 minutes away. Now, do you know, I don't know, anyway, like a few of the lads were coming over and they stayed in Cabaroy. So it was great crack, I hadn't seen some people for years. So there for the match. Them couple of days were great, it's great to have all the Blues fans there. and they often come around this area. But I'm heartbroken now because I don't think they're going to be here next season. I think it's going to be America, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, to tell you the truth, after that, I sort of like went off the rails a bit and got myself married. But in between wives, because you think you'd learn the first time, wouldn't you? That this marriage malarkey.
You're a blues fan, mate.
You get the usual crap, don't you? You think more of the blues than you do of me, and the famous answer, I think more of the villa than I do of you, love. But yeah, so I didn't learn from the first.
You're not going to make any friends, making comments like that when you got people like Julie and Bex and strong women like that around. You know that, don't you?
But like I say, I'm a hero behind this flipping screen, mate. I can say anything. Yeah, but yeah. So I between I bet Frank Worthington's been through between a few wives, hasn't he? But
I don't know if he's had many wives. I think he's had a few girlfriends.
Yeah.
I think he's had a few wives, but not his own. Like,
but yeah. So I didn't go on another pre-season tour until the time when Brucey was in charge, and we went to Germany. That was a good crack. That was, but we was based in Nuremberg. I can't remember this a team called Ulm or somewhere It was a good crack over there. Really was. I love them pre-season times, but then, like I say, I never learned my mistake the first time when I got married the second time.
But I always used to go to, like the easy ones for me, like every year, Cheltenham.
Yeah.
Any of those around the Bristol area, easy to get to, easy to get back from. And if you're working, sometimes it's hard. But I think after, so when we started what about Brucey? How would you rate Brucey?
Again, at the start, absolutely loved him. It was great, wasn't it? He took us on that journey, got us promotion when we'd ripped the season off. Really, he come in, and then he just like scrape into the playoffs, getting sixth place on the final day of the season. The rest, as you say, history. That first season back in the first division, what it was then, the Premier League. We was on about it the other day, that was flipping a magical time, that was. Because it's almost like we don't really, do we deserve to be here? We're Blues, aren't we, sort of thing. It was almost like a carefree free hit, that first season.
It's brilliant. Those first.
It was the way it was done as well, though. I mean, don't forget, like it was well known that Bruce was coming, but he had to go on that gardening leave.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Jordan's never got over that.
No, and all that build up before, and the way it happened, and Blues were like floundering, and and then he's coming right. He's paid his due diligence. He took over, and we went from nowhere to what, 6, I think we finished.
We did.
And then, well, the rest was history, wasn't it?
That final was absolutely fantastic.
Cardiff was what a place. I mean, I still maintain it. Of course, I've been to Wembley with the Blues as well now.
That ground's better.
Well, 3 times. The Millennium Stadium with the roof closed. There's the best atmosphere I've ever experienced.
We were saying that last week, weren't we, Pete? I think that stadium is amazing. But that day, I think if you're going to go up, right, and if you're definitely going to go up, the way to do it is through the playoffs and win on penalties.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's the most exciting way to do it.
Absolutely. And I said that I was living in Sedgley at the time, having married a Black Country woman, and a lot of my sort of local friends were either Wolves or Albion, and like we were the first to go up out to, into the Premier League. Through the playoffs, and I said, like, you never want to do it any other way. If you're lucky enough to get into the Premier League, like rubbing it in, do it through the playoffs.
It was amazing, and it was an amazing day, wasn't it? And that season was brilliant. And I think
I've got to tell you something.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve. Yeah. So we've got promotion. It's pre-season tour time again, isn't it? Right.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. So we've had a pre-season tour of Scotland. Now this is to prepare for the Premier League. Now we just sort of like started signing players, haven't we? We got Robbie Savage through the door. Got Cisse. We'd signed him. But there was things happening. We hadn't got. It was going to be the end of the road for Michael Johnson and Andy Johnson as well, who he'd made the call to sacrifice AJ to bring in Clinton Morrison.
Which at the time seemed crazy to me.
Yeah. So the first game we played, what was it? Livingston. We played. Got beat at Livingston. Oh, this is great preparation for the Premier League. That is in it. And then we played Partick Thistle and Motherwell and whatever, but we'd shown no signs. That whole thing about getting a team to gel takes a bit of time. Well, bringing in the new players, they needed that pre-season to get ready
to gel.
But, then it was brilliant sort of thing that next season. Matthew Upson, what a player, and then getting in Kenny Cunningham.
Yeah,
wow.
Upson was great. I loved Upson, and also like Cisse and Savage were just like, weren't they?
Of all the
Cisse they couldn't have remained fitter than he. He didn't play. He missed a lot of games, and he never really found his stride. I thought Cisse.
Oh, yeah, he did miss a lot of games.
Yeah. When he was on the pitch, he was a presence, but he was very injury prone. And apparently, a really, really nice bloke off the pitch, because I know someone that when it was in the main stand there, the main stand, and like the players used to sort of sit beyond if they were like long term permanently injured, and he was brilliant with them. He was a really, really nice bloke. And but I don't think we ever really got his full potential, because I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, we had some good players.
Getting back to pre-season.
Pre-season Pete.
Yeah, that's it. Pre-season Pete. Yeah. So there's quite a few Blues up there. Millwall was touring up round Glasgow as well, so that was a nice sort of like entertaining, and Cardiff as well. That was it. If you could put three groups to be in Glasgow at the same time, but it was okay and whatever. But Witherspoons used to do these meals like 2 for the price of 1 and whatever.
Yeah.
So as it is, you end up getting split up from people and whatever, don't you? We hadn't got a game that day, so on the Friday dinner time, I'd gone into Witherspoons, as you do, cheap beer or whatever. But I'll have something to eat. Well, if it's 2 for the price of 1, there was only me in there, but I may as well have the 2 meals. So you could see people having a look over at me, because they're just me and 2 meals. Got a weird one here, like. And then my mates came in, didn't they? So some of my mates said, "Oi, I'm over here," and they totally ignored me. So everyone else who's around me thinks I'm talking to myself, waving my arms out. Oi, oi, oi! Be 2 flipping dinners in front of me. I should have gone.
That's Witherspoons for you, mate. Microwave, you see.
Exactly, mate. Yeah, but you ain't going to pay for the price of 1, are you?
No, definitely not. I mean, why wouldn't you have the second one?
Yeah. So where do you think it went wrong for Brucey then?
God no. I mean, that it was just so typical. He lost his way, I think. I think he lost the players a bit as well. What do you think, Gaz?
I think he knew that Sullivan and Golds were on the way. he knew that they wanted out by then. There was lots of rumours about it as well, weren't there?
Yeah.
There's going to be a change, and I don't think Bruce was happy with that. They stopped funding him, really.
Oh, because when the hairdresser come in, didn't he? Because Bruce never actually got sacked, did he?
He left, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he sort of,
Where
I don't
did
know.
he go?
Because
I don't know.
he went to Wigan, didn't he, or something? Or
Probably Wigan, yeah. Yeah. It
think so.
was weird
No,
how it all
I
happened.
don't think he was ever sacked, but I really can't remember how it all ended. But it was down to we were going to, the what's his name, Carson Young was about to take over the Blues, weren't he? It was around that time. It was all changed, and Bruce they stopped putting money into the team after he'd made some disastrous signings, I might add.
But we started to become a bit of a yo-yo club, hadn't we, by this time?
Yeah.
And it always makes me, because obviously McLeish came in, and then we got a relegation. The promotion that we got under McLeish to get out the league and back into the Premier was absolutely shocking. Some of the football there.
Yeah.
What would you give for that these days? But you'd almost like become blasé to bouncing back up.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've always been known as a yo-yo team. We've always been known that, we have even before the Premier League. Like we used to be like Division 1 or Division 2, and then come straight back up and all the rest.
Trouble is, it's like we're like a yo team now. We're just lacking the other yo because we're the longest serving.
Well,
we're the longest serving championship team, aren't we?
Yeah.
We've got to look at this season and try and do something. Listen,
it depends on what you wish for, though. The first time in the Premier League, like we'd made it, they said where everyone wants to go, and when you get there, well, I don't think it's that brilliant. We
were saying this. I mean, it's nice going to the away games and stuff, but then you've got a big fight on your hands. Listen, we're going to call this quits for tonight. I'll tell you what we can do if you want. We'll continue it next week, will we?
Yeah.
Can I leave you with one question then?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So McLeish has come up. Who was the best pairing, Upson and Cunningham, or Roger Johnson and Scotty Dan?
Wow.
I'm going to go for Upson and Cunningham. I am.
Well, I reckon statistics prove that it was Dan and Johnson, but Kenny Cunningham in any team for me, to be fair, because I thought he was brilliant.
Brilliant, Werner.
Brilliant, and Vince Overson and Upson as well. I loved Upson. I did, and I think he was like when he come to us, I was like really, really like happy about getting him because he was like a proper good centre half when he,
with a left foot
Cunningham,
as well.
Mr. Reliable, wasn't
he? Yeah.
And then you got Stephen Carr. What did you say?
Yeah.
Well, we know what he called the alt end, don't we? So he'll do for me.
Yeah. What did he call it? Come on.
Just to do with anchors or something, yeah.
But I loved that. I don't know if you've seen that photo that was taken of Lee Bowyer leaning into the Holt.
Yes, yeah.
I love that photo, and that girl's calling him a.
Yeah.
But I love that photo. I didn't like Lee Bowyer for that. He was a bit of a shithouser, wasn't he? He was good at that business,
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
But look, we'll call it quits tonight because I don't like them running on too long because no one watches them if they are. They think, oh my God, here we go again, like another podcast.
Yeah.
We'll call it quit. If you want to do it again next Wednesday, and we'll just bring it right up to date and talk about the last sort of 10 years.
Yeah. I'm just going to tell you, I've just got to remind you of one thing here, which is probably like the funniest thing that I ever saw down the Blues, and it only came out after we found out what the dialogue was. It was Mark Dennis against Alan Ball, who was still playing, I think, for Portsmouth.
I remember that.
And Mark Dennis was all over Ball. He had him in his pocket, and he lost it. Alan Ball did.
Yeah.
And he said something to Dennis, and Dennis said, apparently, he came out after, shut up, you squeaky face wanker. And Alan Ball went to headbutt him and got sent off. It was just like absolute brilliant. Like.
I did, you got to love Mark Dennis as well, isn't you? He was, I think he was at that thing last weekend, wasn't he, with Tony Coton and Mick Harford, and was it?
I've got a brilliant Mark Dennis story for next time anyway as well.
I've got some good stories. But
if anyone knows how Alan Ball used to speak, it was just brilliant.
Oh, it was squeaky,
what a reply! Like, he just lost it and went for him.
But what a player though! He's got to say that. Yeah. What a player he was.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. All right then.
All right then, mate.
Right. Next Wednesday we're going to do it.
All right.
Pete, nice to speak to you again. And I've no doubt in the next couple of days we're going to be speaking about a lot of different things. I've no doubt. Gaz, it's great to see you, mate. Honestly, you look well.
Sorry?
You look really well.
Well, of course I am. I'm well, and so do you.
Yeah.
All that Spanish sunshine, I suppose.
No bloody, I'm freezing. I've got t-shirts on. All right, so...
yeah, that's why I disappeared. I had to put another log on the fire. It's freezing here.
Put another log on the fire, son. All right, so next Wednesday, Gaz, cheers, mate. All right.
Brilliant.
And, speak to you before then. Pete, I'll probably speak to you tomorrow sometime, mate.
Yes, no problem. Okay. Nice to meet you.
I'll upload this tomorrow, not tonight, because it takes too long, and it's now 8:45 here, so...
Right.
All right.
Okay. Take care, everyone, then.
See you later, guys.
See ya.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.